Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Emma, or Miss Emma MM. So today I want to do a review of a really interesting new Netflix film. Now, this movie is called The Discovery. I actually heard about this. A friend of mine on Facebook was posting they were watching it like a week or so ago, and I was like, okay, sounds really interesting from the plot, and also, why didn't I ever hear about this movie before? I'd seen no advertisements at all, and, I usually check the list of movies that are coming out for the month, like I did my one for this month for April, Netflix movies, new ones that sound good. I didn't see anything about it. Well, I just checked, apparently it was released March 31st. I was not on the ball checking stuff for March, but it's still weird I didn't see any advertisements. So, what got me intrigued is this movie is about a scientist who discovers that there's life after death, and this causes a bunch of people to commit suicide. So very interesting premise in my book. I had to look it up and watch it. And what? Okay. So what I'm going to say right now is there are going to be a lot of all the spoilers in this review. So if you don't want any spoilers, I'm going to tell you right now, it is worth watching. If you think that premise is interesting, it stars Robert Redford and Jason Segel and Rooney Mara. So if you like that cast and or the premise, more of the premise actually than the cast, check it out and then come back and watch this. Okay, so now you know there are going to be spoilers. Here's the thing. The rest of the premise is that because they've, announced that scientifically it's proven that there's some sort of afterlife, everyone just assumes, or most people assume, that it's going to be a heaven, a type of heaven. And a bunch of people, millions of people, commit suicide within a couple years of this discovery being announced because they want to get to heaven, or they want to get there, which is what a couple people say in the movie, because it might be their version of heaven. It's a really interesting premise. Now, what I just checked out about this movie is that it was filmed without Netflix. Like, Netflix bought the movie after seeing it. Then it was released in January at Sundance. I mean, it was screened. And then it was just released for Netflix. So, even though Netflix, produced it, they paid for it, they didn't make it. So, even though it has name actors, it doesn't look like it had any kind of big budget or anything. It said it was filmed in Rhode Island. And you can see there's only a few different sets, basically like in what could have been like an abandoned building, like a school or a hospital or whatever, and a beach and a boat. So it doesn't look like it cost a lot of money to make, except for probably whatever they paid Jason Segel and Robert Redford and Rooney Mara. And you might know Rooney Mara as the girl who played the girl with the dragon tattoo in the remake. Jason Segel you probably know from either How I Met Your Mother or the Muppets movie. And Robert Redford. I'm not even going to explain, because if you don't know who Robert Redford is, it's kind of late in the game for me to explain that to you. So, Robert Redford is the scientist who discovered this. And the filmmaker is actually Mary Steenburgen's son. And she has a small part in the beginning of the movie as, like, a journalist. But people are blaming this guy for all the suicides. Jason Segel is, then they cut to him after you see this interview with Robert Redford. I'm going to tell you exactly what goes on there, because you need to watch the movie. But Jason Segel is on a boat, and he meets Rooney Mara, and he's like, talking to her about it, and you can tell that she believes that this is true, that there's some kind of life after death, and he's kind of trying to explain his stance of, well, we don't really know what that means. So, you can see there's like that connection of like a friction connection where you meet somebody and they're kind of pissing you off. So you like them a little bit. And you're like, oh, I hope they see each other again. So then Jason goes to see his dad. And his dad, like I said, is Robert Redford, who actually discovered it. And he has a little brother who takes him to see him. And his dad is working in like a big building that he's kind of converted to a scientific lab / living area for a bunch of people who have tried to commit suicide before since learning this, but they weren't successful. Some of them tried to commit it multiple times, some just once. And he took them in, they believed in his stuff to begin with, so they were very willing, and they were upset enough to commit suicide. They were very willing to go along with what he says, so he's basically running a cult. And he's still doing scientific experiments, because I think what it is that what he's detected is that there's brain activity after death, but he doesn't really know what it means. So that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a heaven or a hell or anything like that. It just means something's going on up there after you die. Like, there's a subconscious. So, obviously, you have to have Jason Segel and this girl bonding. And it makes sense because they're, like, the only people besides the son, and we don't know his life, so maybe he did it too. But they're the only people besides him who has come there who haven't tried to kill themselves. Although, okay, no, take that back. She does try to kill herself, and he saves her. So, you're watching this movie. I don't want to say it's slow paced. It's like even paced. There's not a ton of stuff going on, but it's the central story. Going into it, I kind of thought there was going to be more, I don't know, it was going to be bigger scale. Not that stuff doesn't happen, but just that I thought, like, you see a news report about millions of people killing themselves. They talk about it, but it's not like you see it. It kind of reminds me of the movie Last Night from, like, 98 or 99, and go look that movie up, because, with Sandra Oh. And that movie is a very independent movie about the end of the world and what people do. And it doesn't really show the end of the world that much. It's more about people talking about it. And that's how this movie is. It's really weird. I mean, they're doing these experiments and they need a dead body. And then they come up with a way to get a dead body and they have to do it. And Jason Segel sees that the person sees something. Like, they have a monitor to show you what the corpse is thinking. And everybody else misses this but him, and he shows the girl. And he's like, okay, this is a real hospital. This person's remembering. It must be a memory. So maybe you don't have an afterlife. Maybe you just have memories. And obviously, they need to figure out if that's what's going on. So he checks with some people the woman knew. And what the guy was remembering was actually not a memory. It's something he wanted to happen. So they come up with the theory that maybe when you die, you're reliving something that you wanted to fix. And then you fix it. And I guess that's your closure. And unless that's your closure to move on, I guess. But whatever. Maybe it's your closure to go to live some other fantasy life. So, like I said, it's a cult. So there's unstable people there. And some stuff happens. And basically this girl gets jealous of Rooney Mara. And she shoots her. And Rooney Mara dies. And Jason Segel is obviously very upset. And then he hooks himself up to the thing because he wants to see her. And then it cuts to him on the boat with her, and it's like starting the movie over, but she tells him that that they're redoing things, and that he keeps living this time period over and over again, and that because he saved her, finally, that wasn't the first time he'd been back to see his dad, that because he finally saved her, even though she died, he saved her from killing herself, that was like him fixing his mistake, and now he gets to do something else. And then she, like, disappears, and it cuts to him on the beach where they met, and she said she needed to be at that beach for some reason, and he saves her kid, because she tells him earlier that, she's really upset because her son died. Well, she says he's, like, gone. Like, she was with him and he disappeared, and she doesn't, like, specify where that. I don't remember, didn't hear her saying that, maybe she said it low, but I don't think she did. And it's at that beach where he saved her killing herself, and he saves the kid. The kid was just young, and he was, like, 3 or 4, like a toddler. Maybe 3. He was wandering into the ocean, and when he does that, it's like he doesn't know who she is, but then it kind of looks like he remembers a little, so we see this as, like, after the loops. That is the fucking twist at the end, and it confused the hell out of me, and I had to go look this movie up, and I'm like, what is the consensus? And there's an interview with the guy who made the movie above everything else, and he doesn't really want to tell you, because it's kind of that thing that a lot of artists do, whether they're filmmakers or musicians or whatever, where they're like, they want you to read your own stuff into it, but I wish he told me exactly what was going on, because I find it very confusing. It's like, I want closure! But, that seems really, the movie's really good and interesting, and I definitely think you should check it out. And like I said, it's on Netflix, so if you have a subscription to Netflix and you try it and you hate it, it's not like you're losing any money, but it's just so it kind of is a bummer. Like, I'm an atheist, so I don't believe that anything happens after you die. I think you're done. But if there were an afterlife, and the afterlife is, what I read in the thing was, like, maybe it's like a Buddhist thing, where I was reading other people's theories. You kind of have to fix your mistakes, and you live that life over and over until, like, you fix what you did wrong. If that's what it is, that sucks. Like, because life is hard enough, and I don't need to relive some crap that I hate it. Like, that's awful. And, yeah, so I like it. Like, it's really interesting. It has really good actors, and it makes you think. And like I said, I'm an atheist, but if you are religious in whatever way, whatever religion you follow, it seems like it's a really interesting way of theory of what would happen after you died, or what your version of heaven or the afterlife is. So definitely check out The Discovery, starring Jason Segel, Robert Redford, and Rooney Mara on Netflix. I recommend it. Thank you for checking out my channel here at Miss Emma MM. I've been trying to do VEDA unsuccessfully, but I'm trying anyways. I'm making a lot more videos than I ever have before consecutively, so that's good. Come back. I'm doing a series where I review best episodes of The Simpsons, and I'm going to keep talking about streaming movies, entertainment. I did a beer review, lots of stuff. Come back, check it out. Let me know what you thought of the movie, and if you have any good recommendations for Netflix original films or TV shows. Thank you.